Aloha, you're watching F5 On Demand. I'm Senior Technical Marketing Manager Peter Silva, and we're here at the Sands Expo at the Venetian in Vegas for AWS reInvent 2013. And I'm with Nathan Pearce, who's also a Senior Technical Marketing Manager. Imagine that, Nathan.
Good morning, Senior Technical Marketing Manager.
We're looking in the mirror, except for some...
Except I'm follically challenged.
Yeah. So you might have heard a little bit about our F5 synthesis, the architectural vision we have. There are three components to this architectural vision. There's the high performance services fabric, our platform, those sorts of things, the intelligent orchestration of those services, and then the simplified business models for our customers out there. And one of the cornerstones of F5 synthesis are the real world examples, the reference architectures that we've created for F5 synthesis and our software defined application services. Nathan here was tasked with creating a number of our cloud reference architectures. And I just thought it'd be great to kind of get into a couple of these today, tomorrow, and really talk about how F5 and your reference architectures plays in the cloud. So first off, what are some of the things organizations are experiencing nowadays now that this cloud thing is actually took off, huh? Who would imagine?
Yeah, well, it's being adopted now. It's less of a fad and some buzzwords, and it's providing some really attractive business opportunities as well. So, for a long time, people were kind of scared of cloud because they thought it might be an all-in or all-out thing. Do I have to move my whole data center to a cloud provider? And what does that do for my data security, et cetera? But what's actually evolved out of this is a far more popular trend of hybrid cloud computing. So I can keep my apps that are under stricter data governance even, make words up, and security compliance, they can stay in-house, but I can move other departments out. So this is a whole new area of kind of cloud computing, this hybrid model, and it gives some great opportunities. So I'm going to walk through one of these examples now, which is what we call cloud bursting.
And that's really the trend. There used to be this notion that an organization would either go, private or public, and there are all of those discussions over the years, which is better. But really, what's occurred is now the mishmash of a hybrid cloud just becoming part of your entire infrastructure, not a whole separate entity on its own.
Yeah, and I think the big jump there was instead of having a solution like cloud and trying to fit our business around it, what's happened is we've looked at how the business could use cloud, and hybrid actually ended up being the better way for it. So it's a business-driven model, really, hybrid, which is it's kind of cool to see it come out that way.
Yep. All right, so we got a little bit of a drawing here, and why don't you walk us through this, Nate?
First, I'm going to apologize for my drawing. This is a rack of servers, believe it or not.
An artist's rendition
This is my interpretation of servers. We should do a video through interpretive dance one day, see if we can promote. Anyway, so basically we have a situation where organizations, they're trying to run leaner data centers, they're trying to do more with less. Things are a lot more aggressive in business these days, largely due to innovation, more services to support. So how can we solve this problem? How can we get more out of our data centers instead of having as services and virtual machines running at 20-30% utilization? We've got this 70 to 80% idle, this wastage. The only way to really push that further up, to run a leaner data center, more like your 60-70% utilization, is if you can safely react quickly.
Yeah.
If you can't affect change, what happens when a big workload comes and you're already running at 70%? You don't have much headroom. So what we need is a really agile infrastructure that can actually react to change and move workloads around. So no longer having a static, rigid implementation. So this is what I'm going to walk through now with our cloud bursting.
Real quick, we talk about workloads, and many people talk about these workloads getting, for those who might not be familiar with that, what does that really mean? What is a workload? Is it an application? Is it a service? What is it?
Very good question. Yeah, we're talking about applications and services, and these aren't little isolated things anymore, like an email service that might be on a few servers. We've got a lot of web-to-web applications where a portal might be made up of 100, 1,000 different services, some in your data center, some out. So it's a lot more complex. So we need to rethink how we deliver and connect everything up. But yeah, we're talking about services provided to the public and also business-to-business services as well.
Yep.
So if we look at our beautiful diagram here, we've got your standard data center with all your servers and everything. You've got some application delivery controllers. They're handling the performance, availability, and security of your services. But in this organization, we've spec'd our data center to run at its mean requirements, not at its worst case requirements. So we're not running it with lots of overhead left over. And the reason this is possible is because we've got these infrastructure as a service providers like Amazon's AWS, and we're able to push workloads to it. So when we get high utilization, now this could be, I'll give a couple of examples. This might be promotional based, so maybe I'm an organization that's released a new product and I know I'm going to get a really big hit this weekend. Or it could be, my company just runs that way. I'm a ticketing organization, I sell concert tickets. Once a month or every 2 months I get a really big sale coming in, and I know that I can't every other day have enough equipment sitting there idle. I need to run it leaner, but I need to react.
Or what's going to be happening over the next couple of months around the world.
Exactly. So what do we do here? What we need to be able to do is push servers and services and get the pen lid off at the right end first from this environment and actually run them out into our infrastructure as a service provider. Now, just lifting a virtual machine, so let's say that's running Linux or Windows with an application on top, and pushing that to a cloud provider, that isn't good enough. We've got to redirect traffic to it, connections have to be connected to it. We have to make sure that has the same performance, availability, and security policies that we ratified and tested internally as well. So how do they get out there?
Right, anybody can just, move some files, some stuff over here. It's really then getting the people up here requesting the stuff that has just been moved over here too.
Exactly, so just moving the server on its own, that's not doing anything. So what F5 is able to do, and this actually is one of our products which is now available in the Amazon marketplace, BigIQ Cloud, which is able to actually synchronize and push policies and actually manage that synchronicity between the two environments out in the cloud environment. So all of your settings for your performance and optimization, for your resilience, your firewall settings, etc., they can move out with the application. The fact that, thanks Peter, there we go, BigIQ Cloud, the magic here in the middle, looking after the application delivery controllers both here and there, we're able to then very quickly react and respond. So there's no delay in the network. The application delivery network can rapidly produce the same experience whether the service is running internally here or out in the cloud provider. So there's no inhibitor anymore to be able to respond to these workloads and equally retract back out of that environment as well.
What triggers it? So what will trigger it on this side? We're getting to a certain point and there's an automatic trigger set up to then start the action of moving stuff over, or is it all manual?
That's a really good question. We also do a lot of integration and orchestration with these solutions. So to begin with, we've got a lot of people who do monitoring of their servers and services, how much RAM's being used, CPU's being used, but what they're not getting is the end user experience. Yeah. And actually that's what's important. That's why we built the app. It's the guys out here coming in and connecting to that app. Because where we sit, the application delivery controller, we're in the path, we're between the two, we can see actually, is the end user experience starting to slow down? So we're pumping this information into the orchestration tools and the automation tools, telling them things aren't working like they were before, it's now time to react. Yep. So a very informed solution this is as well.
And then when the utilization, when this extra capacity is not needed anymore, they're not going to continue to pay for something that's not live. How do you then kind of maybe, because that's all about elastic, right? It's being able to stretch out, but also then come back again to normal operations.
Exactly. Being able to retract that workload is just as important. So a lot of the infrastructure service providers have set up pay-as-you-use models, which is perfect for this type of solution. But you don't want to keep paying for it when you no longer need it. So this same tool that saw that the workload was starting to suffer can also tell you, actually it's responding fine now. Maybe also look at the metrics of the servers, we've got plenty of headroom, and yes, it's okay now to pull the workload back. So F5's application delivery controllers can see this, they can redirect the user connections back in-house, and say when it's safe to start turning these virtual machines off in the cloud provider. So yeah, it's all safe to do, there's no danger in doing this, right. But it's all about architecting in an agile infrastructure.
And so then ultimately, what are some of the benefits then a business might experience with this sort of cloud bursting reference architecture?
Sure, and only because I started off with such a beautiful diagram, I'll extend it further. Instead of having all of this space running idle most of the time, all these extra servers, just in case something went wrong, well, what we can do is run with a model where actually we have less overhead, less wasted resources. We can run a much leaner data center because we can react so quickly. So no wasted resources or cost up front when we're building out and speccing applications in data center environments.
Pretty cool stuff, huh?
Awesome.
Isn't it fun doing this?
Yeah, I love this.
Well, thanks a lot, Nathan.
Thanks, Peter.
Great stuff. You're going to join me again for the cloud migration one.
We're going to talk about a whole other story a bit later.
Yeah. So that's an in-video promo for an upcoming video, if you weren't aware.
Back to the newsroom.
Yeah, right. You want to take us out of this?
Thanks for coming along. We're at Amazon's Web Services Conference reInvent. It's been brilliant here. We're talking a lot about agility. We're talking about cloud, how we can make cloud really work for business. So yeah, stay tuned. Watch more videos. Thank you.
For Nathan, and I got Natasha behind the lens, I'm Peter, and we're with F5 Networks. Thanks for watching.